2024 was one of the worst summers Bengaluru experienced. Many suburban areas ran out of water. The prices of water tankers shot up. This forced the authorities and the public to focus on water sustainability in the city. Today, we are addressing the issue of achieving water security for Bangalore. Joining us is an esteemed panel. The chairman of Bwssb, Mr. Prasath Manohar, is with us. Also joining us to discuss about the perspective of the real estate developers in the city is Mr. Mallanna Sasalu, CEO, Provident Housing, Puravankara. Also joining us is Mrs. Usha Rajagopalan, lay conservationist who has worked closely with local communities, and S. Vishwanath, pioneer in rainwater harvesting. This conversation is brought to you under DH Bengaluru 2040, sponsored by Puravankara. Right into the conversation, sir. When Bangalore witnessed its worst crisis this year, Bwssb was at the center of it, taking a lot of measures, public-oriented measures and all of it. So you also announced a lot of long-term plans and short-term plans to ensure the city does not run out of water. So how is the progress on all of these plans, sir? What are you looking at right now after passing through that phase? What are you looking at right now?
At the outset, I wish to appreciate the support rendered by Deccan Herald during this water crisis to bust the myth around this water scarcity in Bangalore. And basically, this water scarcity is all about the supply side constraints imposed by the low rainfall during the monsoons, added to this over extraction of the groundwater that added the water crisis. In fact, whatever short-term measures we have taken, definitely it has given a positive outcome in balancing the water situation during the crisis time. Of course, the long-term measures is only in a limited scale, which we have initiated, but we have a long way to go into the scales. And in fact, I would be very happy to announce that United Nations have acknowledged our effort and announced as one of the top global 5 initiatives which is fighting against water scarcity by the United Nations framework of Rainwater conventions. So we are working on the long-term goals. Definitely the way forward is long-term goals to ensure water security to Bangalore.
So could you brief us about what are the few long-term goals you are looking at, sir? Because you also said that you intend to make Bangalore water surplus by 2026. That's one of your goals. So what are the long-term measures that you are kind of focusing on, sir?
The water is about all supply and demand match. So right now the Bangalore is dependent primarily on the Kaveri water and the groundwater. So from the supply side, we want to increase the supply by exploring the other alternative options. Now the alternative options available for us at the current context is about the use of the treated water in a non-potable purpose. So that's the first option available for us. That we are working on that, and definitely during the crisis time we could be able to convince construction industries, commercial complexes and industrial setup to use the treated water. So we will be moving on that direction to increase the supply of available water for the purpose of usage. Second, in terms of conservation. So in terms of conservation, we want to restrict the demand by avoiding the wastage of water. For that, we have initiated a small measure called aerator fixing into the taps. Now going forward, so far we have implemented about 9,50,000 aerators in the city. We want to reach out to the ambitious target of minimum 50 lakhs aerators by the end of this year. That will conserve about 40 to 50% of water which is getting waste. These are the two important initiatives which we feel that we have to go in a long scale. Apart from that, we have to go for rainwater conservation, as our friend Professor Vishwanath has voted now. And this is the initiative which we have taken for creating awareness and building the engagement with the various community stakeholders to bring the momentum for rainwater harvesting. These are the major goals which we have right.
Right. Mr. Mallanna, as Ram Prasad sir pointed out, use of treated water is one thing which we'll have to focus on going ahead if we have to sustain for a long term. So, how has the construction industry transformed to it, especially after the crisis? We have seen a lot of builders shifting to use of treated water. So, how has it transformed as such?
First of all, thank you very much for this opportunity. And Deccan is doing a fantastic job of bringing people together into this dialogue. And we're, as Puravankara, we're very happy to sponsor it and be part of this. We have to look back a little bit, and particularly we have the people that home build so many apartments and so many housing developments that we do in the city. Today, if you look at, there are 3,500 decentralized STBs across the city. You're talking about the treated water. Treated water is coming from those STBs. Effective usage of those STP water is very, very important, because the STP water is used for only two purposes internally. One for the flushing purpose, the other one is for the landscaping purpose, and we always have excess water in the system, and that excess water must be reused, right? So what is the problem? The problem is in the logistics. Logistics is that these 3,500 units are in different geographic locations. Construction is happening in different geographic locations. And mandating the developers to use the treated water only for the construction, Bwssb has done a fantastic job that they have curbed the entire industry from using either the groundwater or the supplied Kaveri water for the construction purpose. That people are going to be heavily fined, and I think there must be some even criminal cases are going to be filed if we are going to do that. The challenge here has been the logistics of making those water available. And in fact, Bwssb has come up with, under the chairmanship of Ram, it has come up with the idea that we can, the Apartment Owners Association of the Federation can actually sell the treated water for 8 rupees, and 6 rupees is collected by the association, 2 rupees for the facilitation charges for the Bwssb. It's wonderful. But again, it's BWS is also marked down by the transportation of this water. The transportation of this water, because we don't have so many tankers. The tankers which are there, they are supplying fresh water. And these water cannot be brought in the same tankers. And so I think there must be some methodology which we need to think about to color these tankers separately, and how we can support Bwssb in acquiring more tankers. And also, I believe that there is, whenever there is a logistics problem, the only way to solve this is through technology. We need to probably have some kind of an exchange program technology. For example, I'm developing 1,000 units apart. And let us say that my requirement is so many KLD or MLD of water per year or whatever it is. Right? I say that this is the water that I require. And somebody should be able to say, I am here to sell you. I'm only 1.5 kilometers from here. And that should be able to do that. And I have put together, from Puravankara Provident Housing, put together a sketchy outline for that. And I will discuss with Mr. Chairman at some point of time to see how we can bring this one together so that the problem can be solved using technology of the treated water. So that's basically what we are looking at. Yeah, so we are mandated by MOEF, KSPCB. I don't think there is a single developer today can escape more than 25 units or 50 units. That way everybody needs to have the sewage treatment plants. Can talk about the sewage treatment plant quality and other things as we move forward in our discussion. But the only thing that we need to look at is, if they are also distributed, how do we bring that together in some form so that it really is utilized? And that will be our challenge.
Right. So there are a lot of challenges in addressing that, but from the governance point of view or from the authorities point of view, sir, what would you suggest that, because there are a lot of bodies, even when we see groundwater levels is kind of monitored by a body. Bwssb looks at Kaveri water, BBMP has the authorities of lakes, where all of them fall in one system, but they are monitored by various bodies. So how do you suggest, or is there something that at the governance level that can be done to address this issue comprehensively?
Right. So it's good to remember our history too a bit in this context. And the Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board was the first parastatal created in India in 1964, right? So the city recognized that water was a problem and it required a specific institution to be able to get water from the Kaveri and to supply to this growing city and the population. Now that was a 20th century institution, the Bwssb, which was created. Currently, what we have as a resource for the city or for apartments which are being built is something that I call 6 taps. And those 6 taps is rainwater is the first tap, surface water, lakes and streams, groundwater is the third tap, pipe water which comes from Kaveri or which will also come from Tirunelveli is the fourth tap. Fifth tap is treated reused water, which the chairman already spoke about. The sixth tap is demand management. Now, all these 6 taps have to come under a convergence of one institution or a series of institutions which make sure that the plan for the 6 taps is taken up jointly and a goal or a vision is set up. And if that is done at an institutional coordination level or at an institution level itself, it will add value to the city and make it sustainable. As you're talking about 2040, Bangalore could potentially have a population of 28 million. Given the decadal growth rate and the geographic expansion of the city, you also note that the recent governance mechanisms being set in place for Bangalore means the Bruhat Metropolitan Regional Development Authority area is what we will become in the future, right? Greater Bangalore. So for Greater Bangalore, let's look at these 6 taps. Let's look at the institutions necessary to bring convergence to these 6 taps to make it sustainable.
Right. While builders and conservationists, all of them play a crucial role, it's also these public communities that play a big role in enhancing, or ensuring that the water conservation is a part of the goal for the whole city. So how can communities come together, ma'am? How can they work towards ensuring this goal for Bangalore? What is that they can do? Because you've closely worked with the lake community in your area. How do you think that the communities can help us?
I think they can really be a game changer, because the government alone is not going to be able to achieve so much without public participation. So both of them have to simply work together. And as far I work in the field of lakes, so I can tell you from that perspective, it really began with the people, filing all these cases to prevent the authorities from misusing or mismanaging the lakes. So what we are doing today is actually we are standing on the shoulders of all those stalwarts and come to this point where we involve the local community in helping to protect the water body. And it began with 3 lakes actually, that is Kaikondanhalli, Lower Amblipura and Puttanhalli in South Bangalore. And now there are 67 lake groups in Bangalore, registered or informal groups. So it is very, very encouraging. I am very sure that we are going to be safe if we can take care of these lakes that we have. There's no point in saying there are only so many lakes left. What we say is there are still so many lakes. So let us maintain them. So how do we get the community around? When they see that a lake is maintained well, they are the stakeholders there. They are the users of the lake. So automatically they will become interested. It is in their personal interest and property interest, because the price of the ground goes up. When you have a lake facing apartment, obviously it's going to be a big buy. So some way or the other, they are going to get interested. It's not actually very difficult to get the community involved. It is more difficult to get the government authorities to do what we would like them to do. Essentially that.
When we are talking about lakes, sir, where do the lakes come into picture when we talk about water sustainability and all of it? How crucial is it to preserve our lakes, rejuvenate them and ensure the water flow? What role do they play in this whole concept, sir?
So lakes are crucial from many angles. One of them from the biodiversity angle, the microenvironment angle, preventing flooding, social and cultural angles. The lakes in Bangalore are not to be seen from a drinking water perspective. That's my take on it, because they need to be full of water, they need to be full of wildlife and biodiversity. They shouldn't be seen as something which you put at the straw in and take it out. But lakes also play a crucial role in taking treated wastewater, lakes also play a crucial role in recharging the groundwater, some of the lakes, not all of the lakes. That is a very important role that they play. So let's not look at it from a purely drinking water perspective. Let's look at it from an ecological and cultural perspective is my take on lakes.
Right. So BWSSB is also working very closely on this, sir. So how has the progress been on treating treated water into lakes and all of this, sir? What is the progress that if you could share with us?
During the crisis time, we understood with the help of the experts, these lakes are the important element in the entire water cycle, which we failed to recognize over a period of time by letting the lakes to deteriorate over time. The visionary leaders like Mega Koda has built up the city of lakes, Bangalore. So during this crisis, we understood that these lakes will be the important points of recharge. Wherever we take up the recharging of the lakes with the treated water, the area was not facing the underground water shortage. Somehow they were not more depending upon the Kaveri water. So then we realized that, and we have taken the initiative to fill 18 lakes in the city to be filled with treated water. And definitely it has given a very, very positive outcome. Even Professor Vishwanath and other technical experts also very closely associated with us, including individuals of science in this initiative. Further going forward, this present year, under the leadership of our Honorable Deputy Chief Minister DK with the vision of filling 101 lakes in the city with the treated waters, which is about 50% of the lake ecosystem in the city. And the current ongoing is being planned now. So out of that 101 lakes, already we got the DPR ready for about 40 odd lakes. So probably within this upcoming season, we will be able to complete the work and see that the benefits percolate down to the society and community, as Professor mentioned, and also Srimati Usha Rajagopalan mentioned. The lakes will be the center point of water sustainability, not only in the point of drinking water, also in terms of overall ecological benefit for society. That we are very keen, and BWSSB is not expecting any direct monetary benefit out of it, but it has its own transcendental values that we want out to the community.
And the crisis also kind of got a lot of people to think about water security in their own houses or apartments they buy and all of it. So that way, sir, a lot of people before buying the properties now think about source of water, how sustainable it is and all of it. So how are you as the developers, what is Puravankara looking at in ensuring for the future, any new designs, or what is it that you are looking at, sir?
Just before that, if I may, if you're allowing me, I just want to make one comment about this filling up of the lake with the treated water. So I was saying that this 3,500 treatment plants that we have, most of them are the old type, the conventional type, sludge removal type of treatment plants. What we are, as we go forward, what we are looking at today is that membrane system and then something called ultra filter, ultraviolet, UF and UV. And this is the mandate that probably MOEF and KSPCB are going to come in future. If you really look at any city or geography, it is going to have certain level of contours. For example, in Bangalore, from north to east it goes. For example, from Hebbal to Nagavara Lake to Rampura Lake to Iremalappa Lake, and then goes off to Tamil Nadu. It goes in that direction. What happens when the civilization happens and when the wastewater is produced, wastewater also has to follow through the gravity. But what we did in our absence of our application of our mind, we started leaving the sewage to the water into the gravity, and it reached the. So the BWSSB in the last 30 years, they have very strategically located the treatment plants in those locations where it is treated and it is left. But still the treatment level has to go up as we go forward so that the water becomes to a level where the smell and the turbidity and other things comes to the normalized level of a natural water. That's the comment. The second question, the question that you asked is that as Puravankara or as developers, that what we are doing. So there is what we need to understand is that if you really look at a developer's estate, like a city like Bangalore, 70% of the usable land, that is the roads and the parks and the open spaces, 45% of the land is owned by the government. Another 35% of the land is owned by private people building their own houses or the offices and this and that, etc. And what developers develop is only 15 to 20% of the land area, and that's all we develop. So we are given undue credit for anything that goes wrong in the society as developers. And also, we want to be the contributors to this, whatever the good things that we are talking about today. But if you look at our span of control is limited to whether 5 acres or 10 acres, 50 acres, that what we are developing. We are not, our span of control do not go beyond that. If I want to generate water, for example, there is a comprehensive development plan. What has happened in our city is that the development has happened ahead of the planning itself. We call it as comprehensive development plan, right? And we have forgotten the meaning of the word comprehensive, right? The reason being, it's not about blaming the government or everything works in certain pace, but the development has happened so rapidly. If the BDA, or the Bangalore Development Authority town planner, says that this is the area that is regulated for residential development, it is accepted world over that it has already got the water supply, it already got the drainage system, it has already got everything. You're only going there and develop. As a developer, that is what I'm supposed to be doing. Today, when you're asking that, how do I bring water? I can tell you that there is no developer in the country who can bring Kaveri water to his development. It's not possible. The only other option I have is to dig the borewell. If I dig the borewell, that also we have got limitations. So now the question here comes is whether you want a housing to be developed or not in the city. For the lack of infrastructure, water or otherwise, whatever may be the electricity or water or sewage treatment, or whether we should be developing or not. So if we say that yes, we need to develop, let's give the license to these people, means then we should be looking at comprehensive. How do we find solution to this? As developers, what we are trying to do is that we are doing our rainwater harvesting system. That is MOEF at case. We have mandated how many recharging pits must be there. We have gone one step ahead to look at the hydrogeological tests on all our projects that we do to find the aquifers level where they are, to actually figure out where should these things be. The recharging pits, the shallow water recharging pits should be. And also we go to an extent of finding the borewells which have been dried up. In the state of Karnataka, we have more than 2 million borewells which are dried up. They have dried up not because there is no water. There is still water in the aquifer. It is just that we have not been able to recharge them in a scientific manner. So we recharge them. And of course that I spoke about the treated water. All our projects have ultra filters and we are going to be implementing the UV as we go forward, so that those waters can be brought in and used for construction purpose or any other purpose. And the bio bonds and other things, wherever that it is possible, looking at the size of the developments that we do. As I said, our span of control is limited to the land that we own, and whatever the natural resources that are there is the only one which I can use, right? And of course, we are doing a lot of collaboration with the agencies like Bwssb. And now, can you believe, we are saying that Bwssb has to supply water. Bwssb is supplying water from, just now Mr. Ram I was speaking, that bringing water from Kanakapura Road or Kanakapura D, from there to Tanisandra and beyond in Bangalore North, is not something that is an easy task. These things take time, but the development has overtaken the planning and the execution of the infrastructure. So we are all responsible for that. We have to find a way and to solve the problem.
So to add what Mr. Mallanna has told, in fact, BWSS has taken an innovative initiative to promote sustainable measures by the developers and the various industries, commercial establishment, by launching a program called the Green Star Competitions. So it is uncovering in the Panchasutra principles. In that, we are adding the values or grading the people for 5 different segments. The first and foremost is water conservation. That is about use of aerators. Second is about the use of treated water, how much best they are using the treated water. Second, about the rainwater conservation, how they are effectively using rainwater in their premises or harvesting it or recharging it. Fourth is how sustainably they are using their underground water. Then fifth segment is how make that community depending upon the water to be more responsible by effective communication. These 5 pillars have been assessed. Developers or hotels, luxury hotels and commercial complexes, industrial bodies have been registered. So more than 1,000 odd people have registered for the Green Star certification. This will be a kind of brand value for the developer like Puravankara or any other developer to claim that we are a sustainable technology. Like an air condition, we are saying 5 Green Stars will be given based on the various grading pattern. This will initiate the sustainability consciousness in the mindset of all the stakeholders, not necessarily to be the developer, everybody. This is a new initiative. Definitely, this is going to be the future of the day.
Sir, as he mentioned about the STPs, sir, how are the BWSSB STPs functioning, sir? Since we are also filling up lakes using treated water from there, is there a plan to upgrade them, or what is the situation?
So right now, BWSSB owns about 34 number of STPs, which is about the treatment capacity of 1,300 million liters per day. We are running in the full capacity. The quality is of the final quality. About out of these 34, about 5 are tertiary treatment quality. The remaining about 20 are about secondary treated water capacity. That also have been taken up for upgradation. That upgradation will be complete by December 2024, which will be NGT standard. So which is far more than that of our KSPCB standard. Definitely, the quality of the treatment is very good. Where we find the problem is about the gap in treatment. It is not necessarily from the BWSB Anur. As Mr. Mallanna was mentioning, more than 3,500 private STPs in the communities, commercial complexes, apartment complexes are also running. But the quality and the methodology which they are using is age-old technology. So I don't know whether they have a sufficient investment to upgrade it like what they are doing it. But definitely it needs to be looked into. Definitely we will take up the KSPCB help to streamline those processes, to facilitate, not necessarily to be regulate. It is about to facilitate the upgradation or bring them into the main full system of BWSB, so that the quality of the treatment and the quality of the treatment is making achieving the equilibrium, so that that can improve the overall surface water system like rivers, channels, lakes, so including underground water also.
Sir, when Mr. Mallanna mentioned about what the stakeholders have to be doing, as public, sir, have you, because you work closely with a lot of people in guiding them in rainwater harvesting and all of it, have you seen a change after, especially after the crisis? Have you seen the outlook change towards the future? Has there been change on the ground, sir? What is that the people are doing now?
Now there are some exemplary initiatives taken by the communities in Bangalore, including residents and institutions and industries. Just to name one of them, a gated community on Sarjapur Road, for example, has communitized groundwater. They've prevented the drilling of individual private bore wells. They said that we'll drill common 3 bore wells or 4 bore wells and we'll share the water. Not only that, they've then metered it and priced it. And they've priced it so that beyond 20,000 liters, people pay 120 rupees a kiloliter. Mind you, the BWSSB's pricing is way lower than that, right? Because it's a political decision also, and it's a community service decision. So this gated community has become an exemplar, because not only is it water sufficient, it's water surplus. It generates more water than it consumes from rainwater and treated wastewater use. So, and there's an institution, I can name it, it's the Indian Institute of Management, which has done some exemplary work with recharge wells, 54 recharge wells, where all the water in the community, in the institution, is put into the aquifer, and therefore their aquifers are full and are yielding water. So what we need to do is to talk a lot more about these case studies from the press, from media, from communication, and make sure that it's replicated by others, so that this city faces the problem of water scarcity together as institutions and community and citizens, because we're all in it together, right? It's not the government which will solve the problem alone. We have to support the government in taking the initiative. I just had to add one point, Mr. Mallanna, and also what the chairman pointed out. So Bangalore has one of the most progressive set of laws for apartments and individual constructions. So apartments have to do rainwater harvesting. They have to have meters for every flat. It's a fantastic volumetric decision, because when you measure it, you know how to manage it.
Absolutely.
It facilitates dual plumbing lines. You have 2 plumbing lines for different qualities of water. It has wastewater treatment plant, which is mandatory, which needs to do it. It's an automatic level controller. Suppose you have a sump tank and an water tank, that these two happen. Plus, it has demand management in terms of aerators. So actually, if we are able to establish that in our developments, we only need 100 liters per capita per day, that will enable the entire population of Bangalore to get its water from the Kaveri. So our target should not be 135 or 150 LPCD, but 100 liters per capita per day at a building level.
So one point, if I could ask you to elaborate upon, you said how BWSSB provides water at a lower cost compared to what it can cost for us to transport it from such a long distance. So is this acting detrimental? I mean, what you have observed, is it acting as a detrimental for, is it being taken for granted, or is there some kind of a mindset among people to?
So let me talk as an independent observer and somebody who has been in the sector for long, right? Water is a human right that has to be respected. A certain amount of it should be given to every individual, irrespective of their capacity to pay for it, right? But beyond that, it's also an economic good. And the only way we can capture the economic good value of water is when we price it adequately. Right now, we have good pricing for industries, for non-domestic consumption. For domestic consumption and apartments, it's actually underpriced. Yeah. I think beyond a certain level, when you wash your car, when you fill your swimming pool or use it for other non-potable purpose or non-immediate purpose, water should be priced at its production cost at the least. What it means is that it makes the BWSSB fiscally stable to be able to invest in repairs, to expand networks, and to take up further projects. And so our critical goal for the city from the government perspective is to make the BWSSB financially robust to be able to invest in capital expenditure, for which pricing is a crucial component which we should address.
So sir, talking about pricing, there have been a lot of discussions around it of late, but you've also planned a lot of programs. I mean, considering the situation Bangalore was in, you also announced a lot of initiatives. So how is the BBMP looking at the financing point of view? From the financing point of view, how are you planning to take up all these projects with the limited finances that the board right now has?
As Professor pointed out, BWSSB is mindful of the citizens' fundamental right to have a water for its basic needs, and also to strike a balance between the basic needs and the luxury needs. So we have to bring the balance in that to society to meet that good quality water is affordable to all the citizens irrespective of their economic status. That is our fundamental idea. So we don't see the tariff as the only matter of revenue for the BWSSB. During the crisis, we understood that there are a lot of other ways to generate revenue to the system, especially the selling of treated water. Of course, we are selling about 10 rupees to 15 rupees per 1,000 liters of treated water to the industries and commercial companies, which is much more affordable for the industry stakeholder than that of the domestic stakeholder. Secondly, we are also exploring the options of using the biogas, which will be one of the energy material coming out of some five product from the sludge handling. Therefore, that is also going to give the income for the BWSSB. Apart from that, we are also looking for the sludge sale as a menu. That is also one of the options for before us. Apart from that, we are also looking for the international green bonds to be raised, or carbon credit to be placed for maximizing the revenue generation. Apart from these resources, we also want to certain segments are much more profitable. That can be funded like infrastructure in terms of improving efficiency by using artificial intelligence, smart metering. All those technological interventions can be brought in with the private resources because it's a profitability. By improving efficiency, we'll automatically have much more surplus to invest in the projects. Also, we want to address the energy efficiency by going for green fuel like solar powers, because our current cost of 100 rupees, 70 rupees comes from 70 rupees expenditure goes to the energy cost. So all these segments we want comprehensively work on and bring up financial stability and to make much more financially vibrant BWSSB. That's what our board going for. But it is not necessarily only picking the pricing to meet the needs of the finance of the BWSSB. So we are also mindful in definitely strike a balance between the citizens' basic human rights and the getting a vibrant, financially stable BWSSB. We will definitely have a positive outlook for this.
Right. And when we see Bangalore is not the first city which is going through this kind of a crisis. There have been other cities also which have kind of been through the same situation. So what is it that we can learn from the other cities or gather from their experiences so that we can probably do our experiment in Bangalore?
It's not to be boastful, but I think Bangalore is in a position to teach other cities, many other cities, right? And so the crisis itself was, in my view, a bit exaggerated. It was not the way it was portrayed as though the entire Bangalore is running out of water. It was only a certain part of the city which was groundwater dependent, which had a scarcity issue, which was managed very quickly, right? So it was not that. However, we have to learn from ourselves. We have to learn that we have all these kind of resources. We have the expertise in the city. We have extremely talented institutions and expertise which we need to bring to bear. We need to persuade communities to become part of the solution. Communities including the real estate sector, the building sector, the construction sector, and all of the sectors, industrial sector, to become part of the solution. And to quickly scale up the exemplars that we have within the city. The Yelahanka power plant, for example, is invested in a sewage treatment plant, the Jakur sewage treatment plant, put in 60 crores to take treated wastewater for its running, right? That's one example. Like that, we need to strike more partnerships. BEL has put in 13 crores as CSR funds to set up a wastewater treatment plant. No other city in India has done that. So these examples, if we are able to scale up quickly, I don't think that Bangalore needs to learn from others and we need to learn from ourselves.
Right. And when it comes to learnings, ma'am, when we speak about lake rejuvenation, there are a lot of things that we do, try, experiment, learn from them. So is there something that you would tell the other lake volunteers or lake communities that are working, what has worked for you in your lake and how it can be manipulated across the other lakes?
See, one of the things is that Sir was talking about feeding lakes with treated water. Actually, our Puttanali Puttakere has been getting treated water from May 2015. It's from L&T South City apartment complex. And also what the complex has done is to have a dual piping in the older blocks as well. So the dependency on fresh water has really come down, and the lake is also filled up, you know. Of course, there is the idea that lakes should go dry in summer, and ours doesn't go fully dry in summer. But this summer was so bad that more than actually water shortage in taps, people coming to the lake, they were shocked to see the lake drying. So that was a huge wake-up call for everybody. And treated water in our lake has worked very well. This is something we are telling the other lakes true, because a lake really has to look like a lake. Otherwise, it is going to be terribly vulnerable. And as far as sharing experience is concerned, actually we have all come together. We are called Informal Group, Federation of Bangalore Lakes, and we are really quite a think tank now as far as community involvement and lake conservation goes, because like for instance, we have been with Puttakere from 2010 and other lake groups have put in as many years. So this kind of experience is absolutely invaluable, and we share it with everybody, including anyone. Like even Vishwanath wants to ask, we'll be happy to give him our advice.
Right. So there was one point that both Mr. Mallanna and Vishwanath pointed out, that there are a lot of agencies, even at the state level, city level, be it KSPCB, there is Groundwater Water Authority. So there are a lot of agencies which have their role in water management. So is there a need for a single agency, or how is Bwssb, right when the crisis was there, you also asked the Groundwater Authority to pitch in so that there are no illegal borewells coming up and all of it. So is there a need for a single agency, sir, or how is Bwssb navigating through it, because it is impossible without depending on the other agencies to handle the situation?
See, if you see any issue, it is always interlinking with so many departments. You take water, you take solid waste management, you take air. So many people have to collaborate together. So if you think that water is in isolation, then we will all fail. So right now, the authority is established by various statutory acts, very regulatory provisions. So we have to respect their domain also. So, however, having said that, I don't want to amalgamate all agency into a single agency. That's not the purpose for we are sitting here. So we should try to bring an institutional framework for better collaboration, coordination, and cooperation. That's what the need of the hour. Otherwise, If we keep verticals in individual isolation, we will be ineffective. That's my personal view. So that we will look forward an institutional framework for better coordination, collaboration, and cooperation. So we have also, during the crisis, we have established such institutional mechanism for groundwater management. Professor Vishwanath also knows that. We brought Institute of Science in the board. We brought the experts from the academic floor also from the board. We brought the Central Groundwater Authority on the board. We brought the Kannada Groundwater Authority on. So now we have constituted the groundwater cell in the Bwssb. That is an institutional mechanism. We will try to bring the synergies where we have to cooperate, and we will bring the collaboration where we can move forward. So this is what the needed to be done instead of looking for quick fix solutions of a single agency, in my point of view. So definitely we'll look forward for more such collaborative efforts in various dimensions, including BBMP, which is one of the primary regulator for lake management, and also the stormwater drain management, which is pillar of water management. But still we don't feel the need of bringing those departments under us. Then always the overloading the issue. So we should try to segregate the task and bring the coordination, collaboration better.
Right. Sir, one other thing is, like you mentioned, stormwater drains and the sewerage system. There are still a lot of gaps that people kind of point out to in the whole system when you see either rainwater entering the sewage lines, sewage entering lakes, and all of this. So how do you plan to comprehensively kind of bridge these gaps so that there's no controversy with respect to sewage entering the lakes or sewage entering the stormwater drains and the other way around also?
You are absolutely correct. But this not only about the government agencies, even the public and the users should also be mindful. When there is a rainwater getting flooded, then they have the tendency to open the stormwater manholes, UGD manhole, and let it go. That's how our system gets silted very fast. So that is the first point. But BWS is also sometimes due to overloading of system, we also open the manhole and letting the sewage to pass through, or it will automatically breach the manholes and coming into the stormwater. And this needs a long-term planning rather than saying when specific issue. With the collaboration with all the government agencies and including the communities, how far we can work together and see that this problem is addressed in long term.
Right. I think we've looked through a lot of points and lot of areas which we can address for Bangalore's water sustainability goals. So with that, I would like each panelist to take 2 minutes to speak about what they want to convey either to the public or any suggestions both to the government, to the public, anything that you would like to talk about. We can start with.
So first of all, let me again give the appreciation to Deccan for organizing this kind of citizen-centric discussions and stakeholder participation in the policy making and policy implementation. To the general public, which I want to communicate, the same thing which I have discussed earlier, that's a Pancha Sutra. So water sustainability cannot be achieved only by BWSB alone. It needs all the government and parasitic agencies and the public participation in larger extent, especially in individual at their households. Especially when you use the water, use judiciously. That is the first and foremost point. Save water. Second is about the use the treated water wherever it is possible. Thirdly, you use the rainwater to recharge your underground water. And when you are using the underground water, you be mindful. Just because the underground water is supplying, you keep exploiting it, one day it goes dry. That has happened recently. So the underground water protection is also very important. Finally, people should communicate and be positive to all the initiatives of the government to come forward to work together in a positive spirit. That's not my message to the public. So thanks.
Yes,
Yeah, so thank you for this again. I think Mr. Chairman articulated what is the role and responsibility of individuals and public in terms of managing this kind of the water consumption and other things. As developers, for us, that we are very conscious of the fact that whatever we made and used for 75 years, concrete used for 75 years, today the infrastructure that we put together is what is the infrastructure that is used by the public for the next 35 years. So we have to be mindful of the fact that what infrastructure, the dual pipeline system or the the better sewage treatment plants and other things, and we are committed for the sustainability. In my opinion, it is everybody in the ecosystem coming together, not only just the government or the developers or larger institutions. I think the general public, the users, and the responsibility lies with all of us in terms of looking for the water. 2023 was a bad rainy year for us. We really had a drought in Bangalore. This year the rains have been fantastic, and I'm sure that we do not have, as Vishwanath said, that it was an exaggeration that the Bangalore has run out of water. Bangalore is going to become a dry city or something like that. I think, we can really have faith in the system, and I think they're doing well compared to many other cities in the country.
Right, sir. Ma'am, what would you...
What I would like to say is that as people living in this beautiful city, we have a responsibility. It is not just that air and water are our entitlement, but we have a responsibility, and I think we should remember this. And secondly, as people living here, we are here. Government officers, officials will change. So we are the constant. So it is in our interest to ensure that the government works, all the departments work together, and the governance is good. We can have that kind of a transparency and that accountability only if we, the people, come forward. We are proactive, we offer to help as much as we can, and I think it's only fair that we should do our bit as well as people.
Right. So what would you like to tell?
Well, already the chairman and others have spoken exhaustively, but one thing that I have to remind Bangaloreans is that we are children of Mother Kaveri. The water we drink, the taps that flow, is Kaveri herself coming to our homes. So let's treat our rivers and our water with respect that it deserves. And let's teach our children to be respectful to water in all its forms, as lakes, as wastewater, as potable water, in any form that water is. Let's learn to respect it, and let's teach our children that.
Right. So before we close, I would like to ask all the panelists one thing, one goal, or one suggestion that stands out for Bangalore 2040. What would your goal be for Bangalore 2040 with respect to water management?
As Professor Vishwanath has rightly put, respect Mother Kaveri, that is respect water. It is in our culture to respect the water, treat the water as a mother in any form. That will be the spirit of the water security.
We are a business house. We are here to provide the greatest value to the customer for every rupee they spend with us compared to any other competition. That's our goal, right? Within that, the sustainability is one of the pillars. That is, compared to any other development, we want to develop projects which are highly sustainable in terms of water, electricity, sewage treatment, or solid waste management, or any other thing, because we firmly believe that the way we put together the infrastructure is the way the people are going to live in it. So we take that job very seriously, and that's going to be in 2040. We want to be the contributors to that, saying that yes, we have contributed to a level wherein that zero wastage and water efficiency at the highest level, and in every possible sustainable developments is what we want to develop.
Ma'am, your goal for Bangalore's 2040, what is from the water perspective?
The city belongs to you, and more importantly, your children, so take care of it.
Right. So what would you like to say?
Well, all the 205 lakes flourishing with birds, biodiversity, and clean water, water in our taps in every household in Bangalore, and everybody being a responsible citizen who does his duty and talks about his duty and responsibility to the city and to the nation by making sure that we take care of our garbage, of our waste, and that we keep our environment as clean as possible.
Yes. So thank you all for joining. I think we've discussed most of the topics or that we could cover related to water management, and as all the panelists suggested, I think all the agencies put together is how we can look going forward, achieve water sustainability for city. Thank you for joining. Thank you, sir.